I'm walking up to the neighbor's farm, covered in grass right now from weed whacking. Walking up to the neighbor's farm to buy some corn, some choclo. Let's see what sort of deal they have for me. I saw them picking the corn in the field and waved hello to them. And they asked me if I wanted to buy some. Let's see what we got. How do I get up there? They're up there cutting the corn. All right, so they gave me a bag of corn. This bag of choclo corn. They didn't want to charge me at all, but I insisted on giving them $5 for it. I do have to bring their bag back, but they also wanted to sell me their land up here. They've got two options. They had a half a hectare for $20,000. So half a hectare is a little over 1 acre. It's like 1.1, 1.2 acres, somewhere in there. But they also suggested maybe they would sell their whole house and their 5 hectares. 5 hectares is about 12 acres. And it's amazing land. It's extremely valuable land for avocado growing, and their house is just a little 1-bedroom, but it's really well designed. They didn't tell me the price. I know I can't afford either of these right now, and their price for the half hectare was too high, $20,000. I told them, I'm not in a position to buy, but for me, the value is closer to $12,000. I paid $16,500 for my half a hectare, but I'm right next to the water pipes and the transformer, and my land is a lot more flat. Theirs is more inclinado, more of a steep hill. In some aspects, having a hill like that is great for irrigation purposes. It might actually be better agricultural land, but for little hobby farms and for, I think, most of the people that I know, folks online, people outside of Ecuador that are contemplating buying property here that I might talk to about that property, having that steep of land is not as good. It's harder to work. It's harder on your knees. If you're older, man, it's rough, and it's a lot of earthwork to make trails and walkways to make it more usable. So, in my opinion, that half hectare is worth $12,000, and the whole 5 hectares with the house is probably worth, I know they're going to ask something crazy like $200,000. It's not worth that. It's probably worth $80,000 to $100,000 because the house is well built. It's a nice design. Water and power are nearby. They have power to the house. Actually, I'm sure they have water to the house also, I assume. Anyway, that's my opinion after buying some corn from the neighbors. I'm walking back up to their house with the bag, returning it after dumping out the corn. So, yeah, if I had $100,000 free, I would try to negotiate with them pretty hard on this property. It's tough because in this area, there's a lot of land that sells for $50,000 per hectare. That's $50,000 per, 2.7 acres. And the reason is avocados. The reason is avocado growing country is expensive all over the world right now, especially here, and especially because, we've got some pretty decent roads and a pretty short travel distance from here to the Quito airport. So for air freight, for export crops to other parts of the world, this is an ideal location. You're not going to buy avocado land like that in California. You're not going to buy avocado land like that in most of Mexico. And if you do, you might have security issues. Here, it's safe. The climate's perfect year round. The climate is perfect. You're growing all year long. And the production is just off the charts for avocados. I've got little avocado trees. They're about 2.5, 3 years old. They're in their first year of flowering. We'll see how their production is. My neighbors have 10-year-old avocado trees that are beautiful. Lots of avocados hanging off of them. And they've got that interspersed with short cycle crops like corn and some sugar cane. Yeah. The property for the right buyer probably is worth what I expect them to ask, which is $200,000. But when people approach you to sell, balls in your court, right? Balls in your court, and they might go a lot lower. I don't buy anything, and I don't advise anyone else to buy anything unless they're really getting a good deal. And to me, this is probably worth almost $200,000. I wouldn't pay more than $100,000 for it. My opinion. All right, let's return this bag. All right, so they also gave me a bag of avocados. I think they wanted to show off their avocado production, and their avocado production is pretty incredible. Behind me, it's an avocado tree. They've got, I think, about 100 avocado trees here between the corn, and it's a mix of my favorite type of avocado, which is Forte Manteca, and Hass. Hass are better for export. That's what you're used to in the US because they've got a real thick, hard skin on them that protects them. But if you want the best tasting, the creamiest, most delicious avocado, Fortes. Forte is most of what I'm growing on my property because they're amazing. They're so much better than Hass. Anyway, super nice people. Super nice people. I have incredible neighbors out here, and it's one of the reasons I love this place. One of the reasons I bought here. I spent about 8-9 years in Ecuador before I bought this place, checking out different parts of the country, different communities, and getting a feel for the neighbors in different places. And you can't find better neighbors than I have here. Very similar feel to small town America in what I imagine was the 1950s, where everyone helps each other, everyone looks out for each other, and there's just a really strong sense of community. You have that here. You have that in this particular neighborhood. You don't have that everywhere in Ecuador. I live some places where, as a gringo, man, the neighbors saw me as a resource and they were eager to exploit that resource. Out here, the neighbors see me as a neighbor, whether I'm from here or not, and they are out to build relationships and make sure that I look after their property and they look after mine. Really, really great sense of community, and like stepping back in time, really like stepping back in time to the 1950s in this particular part of Ecuador that I live. Very traditional farming community. And I didn't know I was going to be making a video about my community, about my neighbors, about real estate. I didn't know I was going to be doing any of that today. I thought I was just going to buy a bag of corn, but corn, avocados for free. Corn would have been for free too if I hadn't insisted on paying. I can't let the folks here just give me stuff for free. I can't. I know it is traditional. It's a tradition to try to be very generous with your neighbors, and that people will insist on just giving you something for free 1 or 2 times. But if you are a good neighbor, you will insist on compensating them 3 or 4 times to make sure that the transaction is fair and to respect the way things work here and the traditions. So, yeah. Good afternoon. Good day. Good little moment scouting out real estate. They actually wanted to trade my car. They wanted to trade my car for their land. The one they told me was $20,000. My car, it's worth about $12,000, which is about what the value of that land is. That if I were going to buy that, I would trade the car for it. But my wife would kill me. I'm not free to trade the car for that land. And I like the car. I like it. It's a good little Suzuki. I've got the organic waste that I'm going to put in my compost piles up on the hood of the car, because if I don't, neighborhood dogs get into it and make a mess. Anyway, that's about it. Ciao.